USA boxing transgender policy igniting battle in and out of the ring. The new 2024 guidelines now allowing biological men over the age of 18 who've transitioned to female to compete against biological women. The guidelines require that the athlete has declared that her gender identity is female and has completed gender reassignment surgery. The athlete, for a minimum of 4 years, has their hormones tested quarterly, demonstrates that her total testosterone level falls within a qualifying level, maintains her testosterone level within a qualifying range, and complies with these conditions at their own expense. Of course, critics punching back, saying that regardless of the gender reassignment, it is dangerous for biological women to compete with transgender women. Critics include Ebony Bridges, an International Boxing Federation world champ, who tweeted, "I don't care about political correctness. It's politically incorrect to have a man fighting a woman. I don't care. That's exactly what it is. The society's too soft. This is our health and safety. The girls need to stick together. Women's sports in 50 years will be filled with male-born champions." Back with us, former Trump campaign surrogate Scottie Nell Hughes, former CNN editor-at-large Chris Cillizza, and comedian and self-appointed liberal. You identify as a liberal, correct?
I identify as a testosterone-ridden, progressive, enlightened,
So what do you make of this? I
had more adjectives to describe how I identify. I'll tell you what I make of it. My eyes roll through the back of my tightly wrapped skull when I hear about these stories of trans athletes. I find them so inconsequential to my life and even to the sport that I don't really think a lot about them. I will let USA Boxing and other female boxers say how they feel. And I've read from a lot of point of view, female boxers like, bring it on. They do have to have surgery and hormone replacement. I think this is a red herring for us to be distracted by. I don't know any trans athletes in my life, in my community, in my state. The ones that do exist get a tremendous amount of coverage. They almost always lose. Let these people, however they identify, beat the hell out of each other in boxing.
Here's Caitlyn Jenner talking about this.
Oh, good.
Let's listen.
It makes them look selfish, self-indulged. It's like all about me. It's not about all these other girls I'm beating. I don't even play in my golf, in my club's women's tournaments. They've asked me to play in the women's golf tournament.
Oh, yeah?
But I can outdrive them by 100 yards. I haven't been on testosterone in 8 years, and I can still hit the ball 280 yards.
I have no doubt. You know, Elizabeth Cady Stanton and her fellow suffragists would be so disappointed in the modern feminist movement and what we've allowed today. I find it interesting. This is only happening in athletic arenas. I mean, you never hear of a transgender woman wanting to compete in chess or the academic bowl or any others. No, it's always where they know that they're going to have a superior complex because of their physical abilities.
The chess?
Yeah, why don't they have them in chess?
They are competing in chess.
Do they separate,
Why is that? Why?
Do they separate men and women in chess?
And why is that?
That can't be your point. Make a different one.
No, that's absolutely my point.
Chess?
Because it shows physically there is a difference between men and women, but not necessarily.
Men and women compete in chess.
No, but I'm saying in athletics, they only do that in athletics. They don't do it in academics.
Chris.
I think I'm with Pete to the extent that I feel like it's a cul-de-sac issue a little bit.
Right, look, here's the thing.
It's just all right,
let's agree this is not the issue that is going to determine the fate of the nation, okay? Right. We all agree on that, right? And let's all agree that Fox News spends way too much on this time on this topic.
The right.
Fair
politicians,
enough.
Republican politicians.
Fine, but
it's growing.
It is still an interesting issue. It does impact athletes. It does relate. We cover sports a lot. We focus on sports a lot. You could say sports in general get too much attention. What do they matter? Because they don't determine the future of the republic. That's true, too. But we cover sports, and we cover this one. And it seems kind of nuts to me that they're allowing this to happen.
So
How do you feel about that?
On a good day, I'm 6'3".
Yeah.
When I'm standing up straight. If I went through this process, and Pete rightly notes, I mean, it's not like a 2-day process, right? You have the surgery. I mean, there's a process.
Right.
And if I went through
that,
let me get to the but. Let me get to the but. If I went through that process, I would still be 6'3" and likely fighting someone who is I mean, I'm not.
No, there's a weight class. In boxing, you would be only fighting someone who's 6'3" and whatever you weigh, around that. It's weight classes. So maybe your bones would be more dense or something. But listen, there aren't any trans female boxers that are probably going to make it that far. I mean, let's talk about it then, but it's not an issue. There's very few of them doing it. There's very few of them competing.
For today,
but isn't this a terrible issue for liberals in general? I mean, shouldn't liberals I mean, I think your position is the right one, which is we don't want to talk about this. It's just a bad issue for us, right? For liberal, because it's ridiculous when you think about it from a big picture. The idea that they have to get this much hormones and this, it just seems like an issue that liberals just want to say, we don't want to talk about this.
I
agree.
Right? Yes. I would say that if you want to talk about the political outcomes, maybe, but I would look at it from a human point of view. I don't think it's a terrible issue for people like me who identify as liberal and progressive to care about people who aren't like me. That's who we are. That's how we think.
But to your point,
thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.